Welcome to Book Chat Live. Join us on Spreaker and comment during the podcast.
Hey everyone, this is Tamara from shelfaddiction.com and welcome to episode 16, an interview with Rue Allyn, a Book Chat Live author feature. This is one of my many live podcasts where I'm interviewing exclusively the authors that will be in attendance at Rust City Book Con locally here in Michigan this August. For those of you that want to know more, I have a link below in the show notes, or you can go to rustcitybookcon.com. Tickets are still available. Rue is the author of medieval romance series Night Chronicles. Tonight I'll be chatting with Rue about her featured title and the third installment in the series, Night Defender, Rust City, and more. Hey Rue, thanks for joining me today. How are you?
I'm great, Tamara. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. It's a little hot, but you know.
I always like that.
It's summer.
Uh-oh.
I can hear you. Are you okay?
You went silent for a minute. Okay, we look all good now.
All right, wonderful. So how are you this evening? It's pretty hot out, huh?
Yeah, it is. But then, I'm an old enough lady that I would love to have the heat all year round.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yep.
you're a Michigander. Are you thinking about moving?
Oh, yeah. That could be a long discussion. We're planning on moving to Nicaragua when my husband retires in a year or two.
Oh, wow. That is really amazing.
It is. I'm looking forward to it.
Very cool. So let's jump right on to the interview, if you don't mind. So let's start with what you're reading. What's on your reading nightstand or whatever right now?
Well, I'm reading for research at the moment. I'm sorry it's not romance, but the research I'm doing is into the Purple Gang in Detroit in the 1920s during Prohibition.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. That's different. What made you want to read about that?
Well, I do love historicals, right? But I also like time travels, and I have a sort of time travel book that I have in mind, which involves a woman going forward in time to the 1920s, where she encounters the gangsters.
So it's a little bit of research, huh?
Just a little, and it's kind of fun because I live here and I get to see the places where all this stuff happened.
Awesome. Very cool. So tell me a little bit about the books or maybe authors that may have influenced your writing style.
This is difficult because I really don't think my writing style's like anybody's.
Okay.
The authors that have influenced me are very, very old. There are people like Dante and Chaucer and Shakespeare. They're not your common, ordinary romance influences.
Okay. Well, that's kind of cool, though. So let's say, what inspired you to start writing then? Obviously, you have a very different style. So what made you want to jump in and start putting the pen to paper?
Well, I have always written like most authors in one way or another, but thinking of doing it professionally, I was in grad school. I wrote a very, very boring 360-page dissertation. Very boring.
All right.
I figured if I could write 360 pages of boring, I could probably manage 200 of interesting.
Okay.
I was really tired of academic writing. I wanted something, fun.
Yeah. That's cool. Okay, so tell me a few of your favorite authors. Are those the, oldies but goodies that are your favorites, or do you have some others?
I have some others, and again, I'm an older person, so we can start with Georgette Heyer. Okay. And move on from her to Jude Deveraux and Christina Dodd and Susan Elizabeth Phillips, who, gosh, I wish I could write humor like her. Probably just about anybody.
Okay, awesome. So you read a lot of romance usually?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I read for fun.
Yeah. I like romance myself. I tend to sway a little bit towards paranormal romance, though, and sometimes contemporary romance. I do enjoy a good romance, cheese and all.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I hear that.
Yes. So before we jump into talking about Night Defender, let's talk a little bit about the series overall.
Okay, Night Chronicles started as one book. The authors always talk about writing the book of their heart.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Knight Errant, which is the first in the series, is seriously a book of my heart. It involves all sorts of things medieval, and that's my favorite time period.
Okay.
You'll find out a lot of history. You really will, but
I believe it. I
it's
believe
fun
it.
history. It's fun.
That's
Um,
cool.
and the second book, I pitched the series to Crimson Romance, my publisher,
Mm-hmm.
and the managing editor came back to me and said, "This sounds great, but I think what you've pitched as book 3 ought to be book 2." Well, the problem was that books 1 and currently 2 were already written, but book 3 was not.
Okay.
And she wanted book 3 to be book 2. So I had to go write a book really, really quickly
Oh,
in order
wow.
to meet the production schedule.
Uh-huh.
And I had lots of trouble with Night Protector because the characters didn't want to cooperate at all. But we managed, and it's a reunion story. Basically, a guy who was in love with a girl earlier, and there's some intrigue in there about um, who in Scotland is plotting with England to conquer Scotland, and how that all gets resolved.
Okay.
So that's the second book, and then in each book, I introduce the main character from the guy from the next book.
Okay.
So in Night Protector, Rab from Night Defender gets introduced, and we get to see him a little bit and get interested in who he is, and think that, yeah, I knew maybe I'd like to have that book.
All right. So, being that it's a series, do the readers need to read the first two in order to enjoy the third?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I never liked that myself when I was reading. I'd throw books across the room because I was so mad that, like, I want an end. Yeah,
Okay.
I want it to continue, but I want an end too.
Yeah.
So no, they don't. I try really hard to make my books stand alone.
Okay, that's kind of cool. So, like, I guess you might see some characters again, but I guess the resolution in each story is kind of isolated and there's a clear
Mhm.
end.
There is a clear end, and
Okay.
you might get to see one character, for example, Robert from Knight Errant shows up in he shows up in Night Protector a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we get to find out that he and his wife are doing well, and they're having kids, and she misses him, and he misses her because they're not together while he's in the story. But yeah, so yeah, you get a little glimpse of things.
Okay, that's cool. So let's talk about the cover art for a minute. I mean, I am a sucker for good cover art. I must admit, they always say you're not supposed to judge a book by the cover, but like most readers, covers draw you in, and your
Yeah.
covers are really nice. I must
Well,
say.
I will give kudos to the Crimson Romance art department. They usually pick an image and set it up in the background, and then they send me a copy and they say, "How do you like this?" And I'll tell them for the most part that, "Gosh, you guys do such great work. Thank you." Every now and then I have to tell them that no, plate armor is not appropriate, but that's about as bad as it gets. I mean,
Oh,
they're really good.
so the heroes we see on the covers, do they look like their descriptions are?
Actually, they do.
Yeah.
Robert is dark haired and dark eyed. Uh, oh, well, I'm having a senior moment, I guess is the one to call it, because
Oh no.
I'm missing a hero's name from Night Protector. But he's a redhead, and the hero um, in Night Defender, Rab, is also dark haired. Yes. Yeah, he's blackhead,
Okay.
ebony, dark hair. So yeah,
Awesome.
okay.
Well, that's cool. That's good to know. So we know that who we're looking at on the cover is a
Oh yeah.
representative of who's on the inside.
Oh yeah. They're all lean jawed and sexy looking. So I'm really happy.
All right. Well, they're Scots, right? So.
Oh, two of the three are. So
Oh, okay.
the first book, the hero was English, and actually had to battle the hero from the second book, Colin. now that I recalled his name. That was a really interesting situation because our hero in the first book had sworn not to fight.
Mm-hmm.
How do you survive a fight when you promise not to?
Well, I guess sometimes you have to do what you have to do.
I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. I'll let you
Yeah.
all.
You have to read it and find out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Night Defender, especially. So this is a romance. So
Yes.
let's talk about the heat level a little bit. I always like to find out, just so I know a little bit about, what we're going to find ourselves in.
Okay.
So on a
You're.
scale of like 1 to 10, what do you think it would be?
I like to. Well, I'd like to think it's a 10, but you're not going to find sex on every page.
Mm-hmm.
So I would probably say a 7.
Okay.
You know, what love scenes you get are pretty steamy, but they're appropriate.
Okay.
It's not sex for sex sake.
Oh, that's nice.
I
So
mean, I
it's
do like
definitely
sex
for
for sex.
adults, right? So,
Oh, absolutely. Nobody under the age of 16.
all right, awesome. So, while this is a medieval romance, do you think that there are maybe possibly any other genres that could be crossing into this story, or is it pretty what you see is what you get?
In that one, in Night Defender and the Night Chronicles, what you see is what you get. There are story ideas I have for all of the centuries
Mm-hmm.
from the Night Chronicles all the way up to 50 years from now. So, but none of those are currently contracted. I got to
Mm-hmm.
work on the stuff that's contracted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how did you come up with the storyline for this title, this segment of your series?
All right, Night Defender. How did I
Yeah.
come up with that storyline?
Yeah.
There was a guy who had lost all his income. Basically, there was, that's all backstory, but basically Rab's clan was very, very poor.
Mm-hmm.
And he figured that the best way to do that was to engage himself to a rich English woman, except that he had no plans to go through with the marriage.
Oh,
So
okay.
how did I come up with that? I wanted to take a traditional trope, which is, a poor Scottish lord marrying rich English heiress. That you see that a lot, and turn it on its head.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I basically came up with that idea. Is like, what can I do with this traditional plot line that's different?
Okay. All right, that's kind of cool. So, tell me a little bit about the timeline in going on in this story. Now we know it's medieval, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but let's talk a little bit about actually where in time this story falls.
All right. I set the story in 1295. I think it starts in either late April or early May.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I said it there was it had to fit in with the timeline of the other 2 books. It couldn't, because of the way I'd arranged things, it couldn't come before or after or in the middle. It had to come after the other
Okay.
2 books. The other reason I said it there was because I love that particular period of history.
Okay.
But Edward I decided to invade Scotland in 1296. William of Wallace was resisting this in 1296. And I'm sorry, I have no desire to get into all the discussions and arguments over what really did or didn't happen to Wallace and what he really did or didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
I think Braveheart, Mel Gibson's movie, is a terrific movie. But I do want to tell people it's fiction.
Yeah.
It didn't happen that way.
Yeah.
So, but that's why I decided not to write in that particular year.
Okay. You didn't want the Braveheart fans saying you got it wrong.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, no, I don't want to do that. I'm writing fiction anyway, so.
Yeah. Exactly. So, and I always assume that it's fiction because it's on the fiction shelf. And same for movies, unless they say this is even biopics have a hint of fiction to them. So,
Absolutely. All the same,
Yeah.
you'll find amongst historical romance readers that they do like their historical detail to be accurate. They don't want my hero in 1296 walking around in plate mail. They really don't.
And they'll call you out for it. Like, that is wrong.
Absolutely, they would call me out for it. Just like if I had a Regency hero walking around in a baseball cap. You just don't do that.
Yeah, that seems a little way out of place. Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about the heroine of the story, Lady Jessamine.
Yeah, Lady Jessamine. Yep.
Jessamine, okay. So I always like a strong heroine. I like someone who isn't really passive. I just naturally gravitate toward that type of character. And I wonder how she fares in this arena, because from the description, it seems like she could be that kind of girl. So,
she's absolutely that kind of girl.
Okay.
She has plans. And those plans got interrupted by her father and her I don't know, uncle, the king. They all decided that it would be a good idea if she married this Scot. She didn't want to do that. She had plans to go join a nunnery and raise horses so the nuns could sell the horses and earn a lot of money. So both she and Rab have this in common. They enter into this engagement with absolutely no intention of getting married. Okay.
So he kind of feels the same way as she does. Like, I'm not really trying to do this right now.
But they don't know it. They aren't. It's not like a lot of romances you see where it's a kind of a plot on the part of, the hero and the heroine, where, you pretend to be in love with me and I'll pretend to be in love with you, and then later on we can separate and go our own ways, and everybody else will be, fooled. In this case, it's the two main characters who are fooling each other. They made an agreement. They're supposed to get married. Neither one has any intention of doing so.
Wow. So so let's just, usually there's insta-lust at least around when the characters meet each other, even if they have hatred in their hearts for them just because of who they are. Is there some insta-lust going on with them as well?
Well, yes, but it has to be done right.
Yeah.
You can't just have him, grab her and kiss her. Basically, he tries to be really rude to her to try and discourage her from being part of this engagement. He wants to make her so unhappy with him that she will just leave. Okay. If she leaves, he can keep the money.
Okay.
All right. That was a legal thing. If she broke the engagement, he could keep the dowry.
Okay.
And she's really offended that he's treating her like this. And she's plans to treat him that way back. So it's not like I have a situation where they can just fall into each other's arms.
Yeah.
But it's pretty obvious, I think. I think I did a reasonably good job of making it obvious that, there are sparks there. The definite sparks.
Oh, my goodness. You know what? It's usually when there's a lot of friction between the characters, you can feel the tension, like in a sparky kind of way. Because, can you imagine those two, if they actually did get married and they insisted the whole time that I'm going to try to make her miserable and I'm going to try to make him even more miserable.
And then when they're spending time in the same place together, because she can't just get up and leave.
Right.
It's, there aren't that many boats coming into this place, and that's how she'd gotten there. So she can't just get up and leave. She has to spend some time there, even if she doesn't want to, even if he doesn't want her to be there. They don't have a whole lot of choice. But he can, so she can see him in settings where he does some actual really nice, cool things. And she gets acquainted with his family, and she has all sorts of good experiences. So when she finally does get a chance to leave, she feels really sort of sad.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's talk about the hero. So, Rabe, is he, obviously he's a warrior, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Yeah. So is he that typical alpha male, or is he got a little bit more going on there?
From the outside, he looks pretty typical. He's and back then in the Middle Ages, men, if you were any kind of man, you had to be like that. You had to
Yeah.
be aggressive and assertive. And being beta meant you didn't just join the church. You were isolated in a not a convent, in an abbey.
Mm-hmm.
Even churchmen, the ones who went out in public, were pretty aggressive guys.
Yeah.
So I could say, yeah, he's pretty typical. At the same time, he's got a soft spot or two.
Hmm.
One
So
of the
could he
things,
possibly be a little progressive in the bedroom or some other
oh,
places?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. He knows better than to just, wham bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
No, he knows better than that, because he knows absolutely that if I please my lady, I'm going to be happy too.
Right.
Okay.
That's good. He's a smart guy then.
Oh yeah, brilliant.
Awesome. So are there a lot of sub characters, do you think, going on in the background as well, or are they mainly the focus?
The hero and heroine are the focus.
Yeah.
However, Rab has 7 sisters.
Okay. That's a lot.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons he's not exactly a ladies' man, is because he's lived with these women for all of his life,
Mm-hmm.
and they each get, a sentence or two. They actually play a major part towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to see it; you just get to hear about it because Rab and Jessamine are busy doing something. But yeah, I kind of hope that eventually I'll be able to write stories for some of those sisters, because they're interesting people.
Oh, that's cool. So Rab and Jessamine, do you think that you would categorize them both as characters that develop through the story? Like, they're dynamic and they're changing as the story goes along, or are they kind of in their character the whole
No,
time?
they have to change.
Mm-hmm.
They both come into this relationship with preconceptions, and their growth arc includes changing those preconceptions. He isn't just the, loudmouth, boorish Scot that I imagined him to be. And she's not
Mm-hmm.
just the stuck-up, snooty old English woman I expected her to be. So
Mm-hmm.
they learn about themselves, actually, by learning about each other.
Oh, that's kind of cool. So, what do you like most about the characters you've developed for this story or the series overall?
Wow. Well, I like different things.
Mm-hmm.
About Rab, I like his nobleness. I like that he feels responsible for his people regardless. I mean, in that situation, you could just leave if you
Right.
wanted to,
Right.
but he sticks it out, and whatever awful thing has happened is going to be fixed because he's there. He's
Mm-hmm.
going to do everything he can. So he's dedicated, and he's noble, and he takes care of people.
Mm-hmm.
I could say the same of Colin and Robert.
Mm-hmm.
Robert, however, I like because he's very tortured. It doesn't come out really strongly in Knight Errant, but his father was a serial killer.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
it is interesting, and I
Yeah.
didn't get to write enough about it, and I want to do that, but I don't. I'm not going to do a prequel. I really am not. But
Thank you for
because
not doing a prequel. The prequels just kill me after the fact. As a reader, you're finished, and then they're like, wait, go way back before. I'm like, oh, darn.
yeah, but Robert was basically, he carried a lot of shame and a lot of guilt and weight because of the thought that the sins of the father are visited on the son. And that
Mm-hmm.
was very prevalent back in the Middle Ages, and he was pretty tortured by that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Colin is actually the younger of 2 twins, and returns at a time when he has to pretend to be his brother.
Okay.
So
Wow.
he, again, is willing to do just about anything to make his promises come true.
Well, they sound like very noble people, flawed but noble, and that's a good thing. That keeps them interesting.
Oh, yeah. And it
Yeah.
keeps them human. We can't identify with them if they don't have a flaw or two.
I know that. Is that the truth or what? So share with me a few of the challenges that you came across when writing the series or this book? I know you did a lot of research. Did that pose any issues for you?
Not so much. That's the period I was trained in college, and I know pretty much where to find information if I don't have it right at my fingertips.
Mm-hmm.
No, the biggest problem I have with most of my stories is characterization. I'm what they call a pantser. I write plot before I write anything else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And sadly, plot should come from character.
Mm-hmm.
And it's character that keeps us interested in the story, not just the series of events. So I have to give a lot of credit to my editor, Julie, at Crimson Romance, because she makes me keep my characters right on target.
Mm-hmm.
If they're noble and tortured, if they're human enough and also heroic, it's because Julie said, you have to do this, Rue. You can't do it that way.
Right. Well, editors, they know their stuff, because I gotta say, in my opinion, as a reader, character and plot, those both are important roles. And when you have a book that's all character and no plot, it's boring. And when you have a book that's all plot, no character, it's kind of like something's missing. So she's right, and I'm glad that you were able to take it some cues from her, because it sounds like your book is awesome. The reviews are great.
They are great, and I'm even happier with what she did with Knight Errant.
Yeah.
That book managed to get an award, so I'm really, or at least nominated for it. So,
well, congratulations! What award was it nominated for?
Knight Errant is nominated for Indie Tale Magazine's Roan Award, the Reward of Novel Excellence.
Wow!
And we'll find out in October.
Oh, good luck!
I'm up with 6 other very good authors. So, yeah.
Oh, wow! So, is it a variety of genres then?
There are awards in several genres. Mm-hmm. Ours is, I guess, what they call pre-medieval history, even though it's actually medieval history. But that's the category I got put in. So,
okay, well, awesome. I look forward to hearing if you won that award.
I will absolutely let you know tomorrow.
Awesome. So is there anything else that you'd like the readers to know about this title before we move on to the next topic?
No, just read the book.
Read the book.
It's a good book. I liked it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good that you liked it. Read the book, guys. Read the book. So let's talk a little bit about what you're working on now in future projects. What's in the pipeline?
Well, I have a 4th medieval, the first in what I hope will be a new series called The Herald's Heart. The series would be The Herald Chronicles, but that's coming out. That's already in the pipeline. It's already in production. It will debut on September 19th.
Coming soon.
The week before that, the complete Night Chronicles will come out. So if you want the whole collection, you can get it in one place, right? On September 12th. Meanwhile, I have to write the next book, and my managing editor said, you wouldn't happen to have a Regency idea, would you? And I said, well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing a lot of research on Napoleon and the Regency. And I came up with a thought that maybe somebody should try to murder Napoleon.
Oh, nice.
They won't succeed.
Okay.
But I'm going to let him try.
Oh, that's awesome. So is it a woman maybe that's going to try to murder him?
It's actually a cousin of the heroine.
Okay.
The heroine is going to try to stop her cousin because murder is just wrong.
Yes, it is wrong.
Murder is just wrong. It doesn't matter who you're trying to kill. It's just wrong.
Yes, that is true.
She's got some problems because she's a duchess.
Oh.
And normally she would have to go with a huge, big retinue and everything. Well, she doesn't want to do that. She has to go on her own.
Mm-hmm.
And then our hero finds out that she's going, and he tries to stop her. So we've got people chasing all over from England to Fontainebleau near Paris, and then back again.
Wow, that's like kind of cool. Like a lot. I love when stories hop from place to place. It definitely keeps everything moving forward. So that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, thank you.
Very cool. Okay, so there are always aspiring writers listening to these interviews, and I would like to know if you have any advice for the writers looking to get published out there.
I was in your spot once, so I could tell you all sorts of things. I think Nora Roberts said the best thing I ever heard,
Mm-hmm.
and that is that she can fix anything but a blank page. So if you're planning on writing something and maybe getting it published or publishing it yourself, the first thing you have to do is actually write it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't talk about it. Sit your posterior in a chair and, put your hands on the keyboard or pick up a pen and paper. Actually write the story. That's probably, I think, the best advice I've ever gotten.
That is good advice. Just do it, like Nike says, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right, awesome. So let's talk a little bit about Rust City, since that is literally around the corner.
Right.
Yeah, it's coming real fast.
Mm-hmm.
So what titles will you have there for the signing?
Well, because most of my books are published electronically,
Mm-hmm.
I will have 3 copies of each of my Crimson Romance books available. Now, that's 6 different books,
Mm-hmm.
3 Westerns and 3 medievals.
Mm-hmm.
I will have some sample chapters of The Herald's Heart. I will be giving those away as a drawing. I'm not just going to hand them to you. You get to sign something and say you want my newsletter or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much it. I'm also going to have a lot of QRC postcards. So you can scan the QRC right there. I'll autograph the postcard for you and get your book downloaded right on site.
Oh, that's cool. Very high tech. Yes.
Yeah, I may be an old dog, but I do firmly believe in e-readers. I thought I would never convert from paper, but
No.
tell you what, I don't have enough room on my shelves for all the paper.
You know what? Like on that topic, I agree. I love paper. They look great on the shelves. They are fabulous. But you know what? Who wants to carry a book to work every day when I have a very thin and light e-reader?
I used to have 1,000 titles or more in paperback books in my library.
Mm-hmm.
And when we decided we were going to move, I thought, because I'd done it several times, I thought about having to pack all those books into something like 50-odd banker's boxes worth.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I want them in my Kindle or my Nook or my whatever it is I'm going to be reading. I can carry all 1,000 of those and more.
Wow. Well, I agree. I know I want to fill up my shelves though, so I might collect a few more, but I think when I get to the point where the shelves are full, I'm going to have to start exchanging books. If I buy one, I have to give one away. I can't go further.
That's a good plan. That's a very good plan.
Absolutely. So tell me, what are you most looking forward to during Rust City?
Meeting local readers. I do a lot of stuff online, so I meet readers from all over the world. But it's kind of hard to give them a handshake or a hug or ask them how they're, about their immediate lives. And you can probably do that. But I'm actually looking forward to talking to people face to face because I like talking to people face to face.
That's cool. Yeah, I like talking to people too. And that's like the best environment because it's all bookish people. It's all people that love reading. They love writing and they love, literacy, all those things. So you have a lot in common with everyone there.
Absolutely.
Yes, great place to make connections and meet new people. So there are tons of panels going on during the event.
I forgot to look.
Oh, no.
I forgot to look it up. I was so busy listening to one of your podcasts last night that I just completely lost my mind. But you'll see my name in the program, Rue Allyn, and I know there's a meet and greet at 8 o'clock on Friday night called Romancing Time. Mm-hmm. And me and 8 other historical steampunk miscellaneous authors are playing games and doing giveaways and having a great time with whoever decides to stop by.
Awesome. So you guys dressing up at all?
Some of us are. I think you interviewed Cindy Spencer Pape a couple of days ago, and I know she's going to be in costume. Several of us will be wearing hats, because we don't want to have to pack costumes and deal with that. But
Mm-hmm.
we do want you to know who we are and what we're doing. So I think the hat is an appropriate way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of us will be in costume.
Okay, that's very cool. Well, I'll definitely drop on in and see you guys and check out what you have going on there.
Oh yeah, I mean there'll be big baskets for the main drawing, and every author's going to be giving away something. So, and you'll have a little kind of matching game where you've got to find the author who can answer the question for you.
Ooh, that's exciting. Okay, you guys having any alcoholic beverages in there?
Actually, no, and that's
No?
mostly because of the hotel. I
Oh.
Jackie, the gal who's running this, mentioned at one point she might be having an open bar Friday, but I don't know if she actually decided to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, well, darn hotels ruin all the fun.
Yeah, they do. Because I was thinking we ought to have a whole medieval feast in there, with turkey legs and although turkey isn't really medieval,
Mm-hmm.
and meat and ham bones and all sorts of pies and pastries and stuff. And no, that got shot down real quick.
Oh, that could have been a great idea. I bet people will buy tickets for that.
They might, but
Oh, well.
can't do it.
Oh. So outside of Rust City, can readers find you at any other events the remainder of the summer or maybe early fall?
Probably not. I'm saving my pennies to try and go to Burbank, where the Indie Tale conference is going to be in October,
Mm-hmm.
and I just can't. I'm a starving artist actually, and I really can't afford to do a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm lucky I can afford to go to Rust City.
Well, we're glad that you're coming, and I look forward to seeing you there.
I am looking forward to you too. I give you a great big huge hug when I see you.
Yes, I like hugs. So moving on, we're going to do the lightning round.
Yay!
Yes, the fun lightning round. I love the lightning round. And what that is 60 seconds, 60 questions. Some questions are book related, some are not. And the only rule is when you have an A or B question, or you have to choose one or the other. You can't say both. You can't say neither.
Okay.
And open-ended questions you can answer however you like.
As long as folks understand with those A and B type questions that I'm choosing the best of the available answers.
Right? Well, you gotta choose. You gotta choose. Well, it's like that whole would you rather,
Yep. And characters have to choose, and authors can't include every single idea, so I do understand.
Yes, awesome. So I'm going to set the timer for a minute so we don't go over, because if I don't, we'll be here for like 4 or 5 minutes. You're like, are the questions over yet? Okay, are you ready?
I am.
All right. Physical books or ebooks?
E.
Hero or villain?
This is hard. Because I happen to absolutely love Disney villains, but hero.
All right. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Milk chocolate or dark chocolate?
Dark.
Vampires or werewolves?
Oh. Werewolves.
Where's your favorite place to read?
Wherever I'm at.
Okay. Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
What was your favorite book or series as a child?
Walter Farley's Black Stallion books.
Name your favorite food.
Oh, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Raspberry Jelly Bellies.
Ooh, series or standalone books?
Oh, darn. I guess I'm going to say standalone, because even in series, I tend to like standalones. So, yeah.
All right, and we are done. That is it. The minute is up. Well, did you feel like you're in the hot seat?
I did for a while there. I'm going like, okay, how do I do this vampire and werewolf thing? I'm going, well, I don't want either one. I would have much rather have dragons.
Oh my goodness, it's so hilarious, you guys. You can't see the look on her face, but I can. And when I asked that question, she was like, neither.
I I have problems with shape-shifting in general, and vampires are even more difficult for me to suspend my willing disbelief.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
That's kind of funny. Wow, then I asked you the perfect question. I love when I get those kind of responses.
You did ask the perfect question. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. So thanks for doing that.
You're welcome.
Before we sign off, are there any last tidbits you'd like to share with the audience?
Oh, I hope you aren't all tired of hearing this, but the best thing you can do for any author, share the name of their book, spread the word around, give us a review on Amazon. That's, I don't, personally, give me the worst review in the world. I will just thank you for having read the book.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, you guys, read her book, definitely, and leave her a review. That is the best thing you can do. I agree. That's why I review books.
Yeah, and I gotta see what you said about mine. So we'll talk about that.
Oh, I gotta get that in. I gotta read it. Awesome. All right, you guys, thank you so much for checking in with us today and listening to the podcast. Be sure to follow Rue all over social media and pick up a copy of her book, Night Defender. The links are all in the show notes below. Before you go, please hit that follow button on Spreaker, the only place where you can listen live, or subscribe and listen later on iTunes or the Google Play Music Store. That's it for today. Thanks for listening, and until next time, happy reading. Bye, guys.